Hey everybody, it's been quite a long time. Welcome to a new episode of Genuine Unintelligence. Hope everybody's been well and having a good year. I know it's been a little bit since late September, I believe. So hopefully everything's going okay for everybody. I know this year is fucking flying by. We're already in December. Doesn't seem possible, but we're here. So we got kind of a grab bag worth of stuff. I'll kind of explain the absence a little bit, what I've been doing, the controversy if you saw it. So we'll just kind of cover it all. I went back through and also looked up the movies I've watched like in theaters since then, and at least that I remember, and try to get a good review on everything and thoughts and sports and games, and just kind of tie it all together. So if it seems like I'm just going down a list, it's because I am, because there's literally so much stuff that I knew I'd never remember. Let's start with the newest. So this new movie, Silent Night. I'm gonna be honest with you. Seeing the previews, I didn't really have high hopes. I just thought it was gonna be like John Wick if he couldn't talk, which is fine because John Wick is great. And I love me some corny action movies. I will say though, this movie, even with just loving corny action movies, I was not feeling this movie. Nor was Chuck and Cody that went with me. There's like a 30-minute montage in this movie, not even joking, and it's not even inspiring. And he pretty much just gets his ass kicked the whole movie. It's basically what happens. Uh, it's it was definitely something else. I try to keep an open mind and not just shit on movies and try to see them for what they are and not try to be so much of a critic and things like that. Cause I try to walk in with an open mind, clear, and try to enjoy it for what it's meant to be. Even still, there's a ton of plot holes. I won't go into spoilers, but like it's like even corny for corny action stuff, like in the '80s or like okay, I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Torque. Like obviously, if you go into it thinking and you don't bring logic into things, you're like okay, cool, but like kind of like in the Torque scenario, like where he's jumping the motorcycle like off the top of a train. I'm pretty sure like shit that would never happen in a million years. That kind of stuff, and it's just like, wow, okay. I feel like Fast and the Furious at least tries stuff like that, but yeah. So among many things, I mean, like just plot holes, stuff that doesn't make sense. There's like other than like when he's fighting some guy and he's cussing at him. That's like the only other than music, like the only line spoken in the whole movie. I don't from the movie basically, he's supposed to get injured from a gunshot, so he can't talk. So then just like no one proceeds to ever say words to him, like he can't hear. So unless I completely missed a part where he can't hear, I understand may not be able to, you know, talk back to them. So that I understand they're trying to accommodate by texting or writing, but you would think you would still use your words with somebody and not just do things silently. Like I don't know. It's if I wouldn't recommend what I say if I would recommend it, I would get it rented or wait for it on streaming, and you'll probably get a good laugh out of it. Also, if you hear, I'm sorry, I'm drinking coffee. It's still kind of early, still waking up, and my nose is running a little bit. So, okay, next movie on the list. Again, just going on the list. Thanksgiving. Went and saw this 2 weeks ago. So the first 10 minutes just had me in all the wrong ways. We were the people were probably looking at us because we were just dying laughing. Like I don't know if the first 10 minutes was supposed to be like comedy horror, but it definitely was. Just like the things that were happening, the movie ended up evening out, and I mean it wasn't like a fantastic um, piece of cinema, but we pretty much agreed that this is going to be a new movie we watch on Thanksgiving of a year, just because of how ridiculous it is. So I feel like if stuff doesn't take itself too seriously and it ends up evening out and the story at least made sense, then I can deal with that. That's kind of the differentiating factors from it and Silent Night. If you haven't seen anything about it, it's basically someone dressed up as a pilgrim killing everybody. Next movie on the list is The Exorcist. I know this movie got bad reviews out of the gate and somewhat controversial and that stuff like that. Again, this is not a great piece, like a fantastic piece of cinema, but I mean, there was some cool fright moments and stuff like that. Not scary by any means. I wouldn't say it's on like the original Insidious or Conjuring level or anything like that. I know these are not the same thing. I've seen the old Exorcist movies and everything, but overall, it wasn't terrible. Uh, so, if you're into these types of movies, you're probably going to watch it. I'm pretty sure it's on Peacock now, I think. I think they sent me an email. So, if you're looking to watch that and you have Peacock, you can pick that up, or not pick it up, but you can give that a watch. It's not too terrible. Saw 10. I've been a huge Saw fan since the very first one in theaters. I think I watched it when I was like 13 or 14 years old in theaters. And it's just been one of my favorite franchises since then. It's definitely had its ups and downs. Uh, Jigsaw gets to play kind of the anti-hero in this one. And I thought it was really good. Uh, again, it's not going to redefine cinema or anything like that, but the story was solid. It's just good to see. There's a difference when, because Jigsaw is technically the villain, obviously, but he's obviously had his time. He's done his things. He's went through a lot, and I know Saw movies, the victim is kind of not determined because of who he's going after. But what I'm trying to say is, it works a whole lot better once you've had this character on screen for all this time, and then they get to be the anti-hero. Much like with anime, with obviously like Vegeta, or in anime, anytime or a lot of times the villain fights the main character and he ends up turning them good. It's just part of like anime and storytelling. But what doesn't make sense is when they, like, we have these comic books where obviously the villains have had their time in the comic books for years, but not everybody is privy to that information or knows that, and then they just give them their own movies. Like, okay, yeah, we had Venom technically in the original Spider-Man trilogy, but this is a different Venom. So why are we giving Venom his own movies? Not to mention Venom 2 is awful to begin with. I was definitely disappointed. Woody's one of my favorite actors, and I thought Carnage was going to be dope. The writing in the movie was just not great. I don't think really either one of the Venoms is great. I think it would have worked a whole lot better if he'd have been introduced. And I get the idea they're going to introduce him eventually, probably into the MCU or the Sonyverse or one of those, since it's split off. Or obviously we have a different Venom in the game with Tony Todd, and he was fantastic. But I don't. I just, for me, it doesn't make sense. I get why they do it because they want to basically build up the villain before they put him in there, but I think it's kind of the other way if you're looking for an anti-hero arc. This is a long speech just to talk about Saw 10, but that's kind of my feelings on it. I just feel like it works a whole lot better if they have established screen time, and then you want to talk about how they ended up being good. And those movies may make money, but they rarely do they end up being a very good movie. Now, like Joker, Joker's, even though it was a different Joker, I think that's one thing he's been honestly beaten to death so many times with everything to do with DC. We didn't really need to see him in that character in anything else. And Joker was fantastic, but I just feel like there's a difference. Okay, so we got the Panthers, unfortunately. Oh, what a trying season this has been. As a Panthers fan, it is it's not been great. I still hope that my initial feelings were wrong about Bryce. I mean, they're not doing him any favors by having a terrible offensive line and no one can get open. But so far, it's not looking good, especially with what they gave up to get him. It's just not looking like a great idea right now, especially with how well Stroud is playing, and then Levis has certainly shown flashes, but of course the jury's still out. I mean, it's still early for everybody, so I'm not saying it's over. But, wow. Just injuries galore. We got so many injuries on both sides of the ball. It's been a miserable season. I haven't missed a Panthers game in I think probably like 13 or 14 years, so I'm going to keep watching, but it's definitely painful. Which the next topic, Frank Reich, the former coach of the Panthers. Like, I'm not going to dog on him. Obviously, I'm not in the profession. I'm not a coach. But I didn't think he was the right fit in the first place. Again, I don't think the owner and GM did him any favors. I don't work there, so I don't know this to be true. But the rumor is that David Tepper, the owner, forced him to take Bryce. Frank Reich wanted Stroud. Again, this is all reporting. I don't know if this is even true. So it's not like he even ended up getting his guy. But either way, my gripe with Frank Reich, and I get it, and I'll explain, is that obviously Bryce was at Alabama where they ran the pistol and the spread quite often. The problem is, and I will say I get why they were doing it, but he was trying to bring the pistol spread offense to the Panthers to try to make it easy for Bryce. The huge problem is, which is not all Frank Reich's fault, is that the offense is definitely not built for that. They can't block for it. They don't have the right type of receivers. We don't have the personnel, period, to run that offense. So it did not go well. And I don't remember which commentator, but you could even see when talking about the game, he's like, when they go to a power running offense, it would work well in flashes. That's why we would have some 16 play drives, but that would be our only touchdown of the game because we would go right back to that spread offense again. And I get that's probably not what Bryce is used to playing, but it obviously wasn't working. So I'm not saying you have to completely reinvent and change everything, but there was obviously a problem. Again, I don't know if it's true, but there was rumors that the other coaches tried to put input in it and get him to do something different, and he was just stuck in his ways. So for that reason, I think it was the right decision. He obviously didn't have a lot of time and didn't really even have the personnel to run his offense, but something had to go because this was historically one of the worst offenses in NFL history. And if you've watched any Panthers game, it's been pain through the whole Matt Rule era, and now it's just been pain other than like 6 weeks last year with Steve Wilkes. It's just been nothing but pain for like 7 years. So that's my thoughts on that. As far as going with the coaches, I don't even know who we're interviewing yet. Obviously, if Harbaugh leaves, I think that could be good, regardless of all the cheating scandals and all that. Whatever. He had proven he won in San Fran. Obviously, the families. His brother's done very well, so that's an option if they could ever get him. I know Belichick's an option. I don't even know if he wants to coach anymore. He's getting up there in age. Ben Johnson from the Lions is a hot commodity. We passed on him last year. Would he even want to coach the team? That's a huge question mark in itself. I think he's obviously done great things with the Lions, but then again, you're throwing a guy who's never been a head coach to the Wolves. So it's really going to go one of two ways. They either end up making it, or it's a huge mistake and another loss 2 or 3 years. Which, there's no guarantee for any coach, but that's just kind of how it goes. And obviously, we really don't have any draft assets, and we have $55 million in dead cap space, so there's just a lot working against the franchise, and the many, many mistakes for trading for quarterbacks. It's not been good. So, I'll just keep watching and try to suffer through it. And that's my speech on the Panthers today. Celtics. Obviously made some good moves. Hold no ill will to Marcus Smart and Robert Williams by any means. But I don't know if Marcus Smart's still injured, but I know he was injured, and Robert Williams is out for the year. So that obviously sucks. I know Porzingis has been hurt a little bit, but nothing too serious when he's been in. Celtics came back last night, even with Tatum. being ejected. So, yeah, I don't have any complaints. I know it was going to take a little bit to get it all fleshed out with the new pieces and Drew Holiday and everything, and Sam Hauser's been great off the bench, so let's just hope they can close it this year and keep the momentum up. That's all I can really hope for. Braves, didn't end the way I wanted it to. Baseball's interesting sport. I get it. Look, we just won a championship a couple years ago. The roster is stacked. We're not going to win it every year. Alex has done a really good job assembling a roster. We have a lot of young talent. We have something to look forward to. So I'm not going to make too many complaints. We should really find a way to beat the Phillies when it matters. But listen, they didn't end up winning it either. So it is what it is. But yeah, things are looking bright in Atlanta for the Braves. So that's all I can really say about that. And, I mean, they've made a couple of moves already for some pieces in the pitching, which we need. So I'm anxious to see what happens over the winter break. I don't think we're going to get Ohtani. I don't even know if that's even in the budget or if it's worth it based on what it seems like they're asking for, but we'll see. Bouldur's Gate 3. Listen, I've put a lot of time into this. I still haven't beaten it yet. So it's one of those games, though. I feel like you've got to sit down and allocate time for it. So it's not just something to jump in and out or anything like that. So I think it's first of all, the game is fantastic, and I was reading the text. It sounds like I was distracted, but yes, I mean, great voice acting, great storytelling, all together. Again, as it should be. It's a game. It's not really a pop in and out game for 10 minutes because things take time, and I like to get involved in everything and not be distracted by all the outside nonsense. So I don't really pay attention to my phone or email or anything else like that. It's been great. I don't have any complaints at all. I think I've got like 100 hours in it, and I'm not even through Act 2. So trying to find everything I can. I really enjoy the experience. And, yeah, it's been great. If you're into D&D or turn-based games, I highly recommend it. It's definitely for people who enjoy stories and being involved in characters, role-playing, stuff like that. So if you're into that kind of stuff, definitely worth the pickup. Super Mario Wonder. When I first saw this game on the trailer, I'm like, what in the world they do to Mario? I ended up picking up. It's definitely different from the mainline stuff, what they usually do, but overall it's a lot of fun, and it's pretty difficult in sometimes with the trials and the challenges, and there's all kinds of badges you got to get when you beat stages, and certain badges are needed in certain levels to do certain things, and you got to do that before you go into the level. So it's definitely interesting. A lot of secret worlds. I still haven't 100% of it yet. That's going to take me a little while. But yeah, a whole lot of fun. Even though it looks kind of kiddie, with the elephants and stuff like that at the beginning, and I know obviously Mario is kid friendly anyways. I'm not saying it's not, but I mean overall, as an adult, you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. But then you play it, you're like, oh, okay. Still just as difficult as Mario could be in the past. So if you've enjoyed the Marios in the past, either 3D or regular, 3D or side scroller, I say it's worth the pickup. Spider-Man 2. By random chance, I had actually I usually just watch horror movies every year for Halloween. It's like a yearly tradition, and including The Shining, of course, because I watch it every year. But so I didn't even have it planned. I had it pre-ordered because I got the PS5 Spider-Man console, and which is really cool, by the way, with a controller. But yeah, so anyways, to go back, I had that day off, or we were at Comic-Con the week before when it came out, or AnimeCon. So I didn't get the chance. I had to work the next week, so I didn't really put a lot of time into it. But then I had 4 or 5 days off in a row because I took off for the holiday, and I ended up just playing it like crazy, just like the first one. Ended up 100% in the game on the first playthrough, platinum trophy. Uh, I thought it was really good for both Peter and Miles to be involved. Great storytelling, great action. I adored the first one a lot for everything. The different types of battles, the gadgets. They definitely went back on the gadgets this year, which I think is kind of good because there was just too many in the original. Kind of. I mean, it was fun, but it's like if you have a scroll wheel where it's like 2 menus deep, you're like, what the hell am I even using? Or what do I have? What do I don't have? So I think they did that. Tony Todd, which we actually got to meet. Actually got to meet the voice actor for Peter Parker and Tony Todd, who plays Venom. And of course Tony Todd from Candyman. I'm a huge fan. He was super cool. Great to meet, personable. The guy that played Miles Morales, the voice actor, was there as well. Didn't get the chance to see him. Honestly, just didn't have the funds to do that since it was already the whole Naruto cast was there too, pretty much. So already down a lot of money for that. If you know anything about what I feel about anime, but yeah, Tony Todd was great as Venom. It sounds like there's going to be DLC because he made a comment that they only use like 10% of what he recorded. So that's going to be cool. I won't do any spoilers, but great game. They've already announced that Miles is going to be the main Spider-Man moving forward, so that's not a spoiler, but interested to see where they go. Easter egg at the very end of the story. So great game if you love Spider-Man. Enjoyed the first one, definitely pick it up. A lot of AEW has happened since then, if I remember correctly. So I went back to try to see when the last podcast was to see just the main points of what I could cover and what I haven't talked about since then. So I think, I could be wrong, but I think so. All in, all out, full gear, and the Punk controversy. I think pretty much kind of covers up the most pressing things that have happened since then. All in with London was great. Both MJF and Cole being in the opening and closing match, that's got to be such a cool moment for them. MJF has been so over for such a long time, and obviously he loves the business and would do anything for it, so I think it's just great to see for him, and just a great overall. So obviously not the only match. There was the controversy with Punk and Jack Perry as well. Obviously Punk is now in WWE by the time we're recording this. Jack Perry hasn't came back yet, but there's a good chance he also could be the devil if it's not the devil in the show. I'm not saying he's Satan, but there's a devil character. Okay, maybe I should rephrase. There's someone attacking people wearing a devil mask, pretending that they're MJF, but it's obviously not. So, if that makes any sense to non-wrestling fans, so when I say devil, I'm not saying he's literally the devil. I'm just saying that there's a person wearing a mask. And it's not like a mask of Satan or anything like that. It's not some satanic cult stuff either. So, if you want to know, just look it up. AEW Devil Mask. Anyways, so Jack Perry could be that person if it's not Adam Cole or somebody else there. So, anxious for him to come back. We got to meet him earlier this year. He was cool, down to earth guy. So, wish the best for him. On top of that, I don't remember all the matches off the top of my head. I remember Kenny had that, I believe he had a 6-man tag match against the Callis family. That was cool. There wasn't a bad match at All In, from my remembering. I think the worst match was probably the Punk match. No, I'm sorry, that's the wrong pay-per-view. Yeah, Joe and Punk had that good match. The crowd was pretty much electric all the way through. Long day of matches, set history. I have no complaints. All In, we had a great time. All Out, which was only 7 days after All In, I bought it too. Really haven't missed a pay-per-view since the beginning of AEW. Just a loyal fan and love the alternative to what WWE's been for a long time. Now, I didn't really expect a lot of All Out because obviously their biggest pay per view ever was a week before, and we're like, we'll still get it. I'm sure it'll be pretty good. All Out, I mean, obviously the crowd and the atmosphere was not going to match All In, but as far as the match quality, All Out almost probably damn near better than All In was. Crazy stat card from top to bottom, lots of spots, great wrestling. I can't remember exactly. I think it was Christian and Darby. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Christian and Darby for the TNT title in the main event, where Adam Copeland made his debut to come out and save him and Sting. Pretty sure is what took place. This is after the match, of course. Christian won, but uh, I hope I didn't mess that up. I'm pretty sure that's right. Because I believe it was also Moxley and Orange Cassidy. Now you've got me questioning it, so now I'm going to have to look it up. Just to make sure I'm not crazy. Bear with me, I'm looking it up. Mainly just to make sure I'm not an idiot sitting here talking about all these matches that didn't happen. Okay, yeah, so this is wrong. I believe. Because it was Orange and Moxley in the main event. Which Orange is now the champion again. Oh yeah, it was Bullet Club Gold and FTR. And the Young Bucks, that's right. Yeah, so anyways. Great matches all the way across. No complaints either way. But, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was getting them confused. Yes. So, that was All Out. The Cage and Darby match was at Wrestle Dream. See, I swear there was like a pay-per-view missing in there, which is, to pay uh, respects to original creator owners of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, okay, sorry for the confusion and having to listen to my brain overwork itself this early in the morning, but I was like, wait, I swear that was okay. I forgot about Wrestle Dream. So yeah, all that was still dope as well with Mox and Orange all the way across. I misspoke. I mean, it was a good pay per view, but it wasn't as good as All In. I was thinking of Wrestle Dream, which is on October 1st. So Wrestle Dream was crazy good too. Matches all the way across. Again, it was another pop up pay per view. So many in a short time period there with from like August 25th to October 1st, there was 3 pay per views, but they were all fantastic. And then Adam Copeland made his debut at Wrestle Dream. So sorry for the confusion. Yeah, so Cage and Darby was the main event of Wrestle Dream, I believe. And that had the Okada and Danielson match. No, not Okada. Good lord. I was like, wait, that's not right either. I'm pretty sure. See, this is what happens when I don't write any of this stuff down than just the notes. So, sometimes stuff gets crazy. Yeah, Zack Sabre Jr. That's who I was talking about. Oh yeah, that was the beginning of the Swerve and Hangman Page rivalry. I knew as soon as I said Okada, I'm like, he didn't fight Okada. What am I talking about? So yeah, that was a great pay per view as well. The Hangman and Swerve. That brings me to Full Gear. Hangman and Swerve Texas Death Match was crazy. Another banger of a card all the way through. Julia Hart, just won her for the TBS championship. Great for her. She's come a long way in just a short time. So she's already is, but probably definitely even more of a star moving forward. So that's great to see for her. Toni Storm won the title back for the 3rd time. her crazy Marilyn Monroe-esque gimmicks going well. The fans seem to love it with their silent movies and all that, so that's been good. But like I said, the Texas Death match was crazy. The ladder match was crazy in all the spots. Another great pay-per-view. And then we got World's End coming up at the end of this month. So Joe and MJF, that's going to be crazy too. We'll leave the CM Punk controversy as it is. That was the topic I had after this, but I kind of already talked about it. Good for him. Hopefully everything works out in WWE. I don't know why people have ill will for one another, but it's whatever. It is what it is. Let's see what's on the list. Mortal Kombat 1 and microtransactions. Doesn't everybody just love microtransactions? I don't know the full details, but I know there's a controversy of Mortal Kombat 1, the newest game, which I have and I like, but charging some crazy fee for like one fatality or nonsense, and then I know people were like rolling back the dates on their consoles and PCs to try to get previously free content that they're now paying for. Good lord. Warner Brothers Gaming, just don't. I know fighting games are always pretty bad when it comes to selling characters and new editions and packs, and I've been guilty of buying them in the past, but I understand it's such a huge revenue force, but can we just please get away from microtransactions and this type of stuff in gaming? I feel like it's definitely ruining it. So, shame on them. Let's hopefully they do better in the future. Madden. Madden was awful on PC. I just want to put that out there. I bought it, refunded it on Steam within 2 hours because it was just completely broken and shitty. Was not impressed. They had it for like super cheap, and I get this stuff from work where you can get like free gift cards and stuff from points. So I bought it with that. I didn't even have to pay for it. So it ended up being free for me. I got it on PS5. It's not... From when I played on PS5, it's not terrible. It's not reinventing the wheel, but I know that a lot of people have... Now, to clarify, I've only done franchise. I've kind of fallen out of doing the Ultimate Team stuff, and especially if you play with somebody else, because if you realize, if you play with somebody else, 50% of the time you play an Ultimate Team is on loading screens. I'm just like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. And then, like, if something happens, you have to restart the whole thing over, and it's just annoying. That doesn't seem like they've ever optimized Ultimate Team for a long time, so I'm just sticking to franchise mode. And as far as franchise, the news passing mechanics and stuff, they're not terrible. Definitely not as broken as PC, where it just didn't... There was an input lag, so it didn't matter what you did, because it just did whatever the hell it wanted, so... It's not bad. COD, didn't buy it. Don't plan on it. I'll be happy to see if Microsoft can ever make changes to Call of Duty moving forward, but I've been over it for a while. Doesn't mean other people can't enjoy it, or if you like it, that's fine too. I'm just not with it anymore. I'm out of COD. I'm kind of just... I've really stepped back from just competitive gaming as a whole. Like, as far as with, online with a bunch of other people. I love me some co-op and campaign and stuff, and I don't, I'm not against it or anything, but if you just end up getting pissed off and stuff like that, I don't think it's really that fun, and there's just so many cheaters, and campaign is apparently shit, like less than 3 hours. It's sad. And then, they're going to make $1 trillion selling skins, and it's just sad. I know that Halo back in the day had map packs and stuff like that, but I just miss that era of online gaming, competitive gaming. Before, we had, like 3 map packs, but, it's content, but then now it's just like, apparently now it's leaked also they're bringing Peter Griffin to Fortnite. I'm like, this is just... I don't know. At this point, I just don't really want to be associated with it or that. I don't really want to support it because I feel like it's definitely ruined gaming. So I'm just staying the hell away from all that. I don't want to be involved in it. I mean, it's fine. I know people enjoy it. That's fine. I get asked all the time if I want to play it. I'm just like, nah, I'm just not really wanting to do that anymore. So, but, you know, never say never. I tried going back. Played with a friend on Apex because he kept asking me like 3 months ago. It wasn't fun. It just wasn't. It wasn't a good time. So, you know, I don't really have updates on anything like that. I don't really pay attention. I know it's getting all kinds of. Other than the campaign stuff, I know is map removal because the respawns being jacked up. The usual COD stuff. But I'm just gonna stay away from that because it just doesn't really, not really fun for me anymore. Much more back into getting lost into adventures and game playing and going back through. I'm unfortunately I cannot retrieve my save file for Breath of the Wild, so I've got to start it all over. So, but that's fun. I'm gonna be doing that. I've got Tears of the Kingdom as well. I've been playing Kirby. Like I said, I got Baldur's Gate. Good lord, I just picked up Horizon on Steam. It looks immaculate on PC, so I'm excited for that. Got all kinds of stuff to enjoy. Been actually even going back through Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which I completely shit on when I was younger. But now that if I just accept the fact that it's not really Resident Evil, even though there's Resident Evil stuff in it, then I can actually have fun. It's been a good time. So I'm still going to buy and play new games and stuff too, but I'm trying to get away from trying to make some financial changes a little bit and, just stuff like that. Try to get a plan moving forward it's not like I'm not complaining in any means or anything like that, but I'm just trying to, I have such a backlog. I'm trying to enjoy that stuff, trying to get new games, wait till they're on sale, because, I've got stuff to play. I've still got to beat Persona 5, Royale. I'm not even going to start on the other iterations until I get that done. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is I have all this retro game stuff too. I have it all hooked up and look at this. I have so much. I know it's so hard when a new and shiny game comes out like Mario and I want it and I'm like, sometimes if it's something you really, really want, you're going to jump to it. But I'm trying to get through this backlog. I know it's a struggle and enjoy a lot of the stuff I have without shelling up so much money. And I'm trying to really just keep building my retro collection. And eventually, if I ever get the house I want, with, plan on having like an entire, like, nerd retro gaming basement with all the different setups. So, I feel like that's the end dream. So that's really kind of what I'm trying to save for, is to obtain that. And I know buying a house right now, it's a terrible time, so I'm kind of waiting to see where that goes, but that's the idea. I'm still going to be playing the games, but new games, and I'll try to be smarter about that. So that's kind of the plan. Oh, so yeah, Facebook. If you haven't noticed, not only this podcast page is deleted on Facebook, but my personal Facebook. So I guess I'll address that. I don't know. All I did was just talk. The last post I made on Facebook was just talking about how Killer Reunion. I'm just kind of shelving that for the meantime to figure out what I want to do with the casting. So I was working on writing a new script. It's a play on words. Method I kill. Okay, it's going to be another horror movie. I don't have a time. I don't have everything fleshed out because it kind of just, I don't know. I just started focusing on other things since it was just, try not to focus on the negativity because I still don't understand. But anyways, method I kill, play on words for methodical. The idea was that how killers are usually synonymous for like the look or weapons they have. The idea was going to be, it was in which the method they kill that is the constant, so that could open it up to being so many more other things or other people. That's about as far as I got. I didn't get too... That was a premise I was starting with. Anyways, all I did was make this post on Facebook, I think it was a couple days later. So this wasn't a message, this was an account alert directly from them to me. I've had issues in the past where I don't know. Someone said we use copyrighted audio, which I know is not true because I've always went out of my way to make sure the songs and stuff I used in the YouTube or my streaming and everything else was not copyrighted. I have a playlist just for it. So, anyways, I looked it up the information because it said me a name of a company that I supposedly use the audio for. So it said it was the only thing I could find. It said it was some sort of feminist company. So I don't know. I have no idea what happened there. This was months ago. So, anyways, they removed a couple videos. I'm like, okay, whatever. I really haven't really used music or anything since then, or really done a whole lot since then. And also, the videos never got pulled off YouTube. So this is only on Facebook through the Facebook profile where all the videos and podcast links and everything were posted. So, anyways, I'm like, okay, whatever. We then found out someone was also damn near stealing the name I found by looking for this podcast to go to listen to it. Because I like to listen back through to make sure there's no audio issues or I don't sound like a damned idiot. So, anyways, there was another group out there using genuine intelligence with damn near the same colors. So I mentioned that, I think, on the last podcast, but whatever, I guess. I find it very hard to believe that they couldn't, if they did a Google search like they should, that they didn't see this podcast before they named it. But whatever. Kind of shitty or similar, but I guess in this day and age, there's only so many names you can come up with. Anyway, so I addressed that. I never really mentioned that on the Facebook or anything, so I don't know if that has something to do with it. But long story short, they sent me an account notice, said I was apparently plagiarizing on Facebook's rights. Mind you, if you know anything about me or the past, I had been off social media for a long time. And really still am. I didn't even have Facebook even installed on my phone for like 5 or 6 months. And the only thing I really ever did was log back in just to promote it or talk about a next project. So they never gave me an example of what this plagiarism is. So I don't know if this is still supposedly off the first thing, but that was 6 months ago when they removed the video, or if it was a post about my writings. I don't really know what it is. And the logo and everything, it's not the greatest, but I created that as well. And I own the stock footage, the stock photos for that as well. Because I got some of that stuff from Adobe Stock. And through them, you can actually purchase the rights to that. So, which I did, just in case you're wondering. That was attached to my account. It was some sort of thing you could buy, and you got so many images. So that was all owned. And then the website I pay for it too. So honestly, I don't know if it was the name, even though we were created way before this other podcast, which just started earlier this year, by the way. I don't know if they filed the copyright. I don't know if it was the feminist audio, which I still don't understand. They never gave me specifics. I just had to research it. I don't know if it was me posting about what I had written, but long story short, they basically sent me a notice saying that due to me plagiarizing on their rights, which I don't even, whatever. Yeah, so they deleted my page. So they deleted not only my personal page, but the podcast page as well. So just in case you're wondering, I didn't block anybody. I didn't anything like that. They deleted it. I barely use it anyways. It kind of sucks because there's some people on there that don't have like my number and stuff. I haven't made another one or anything like that. I've thought about it, but just kind of dumb. I don't understand it. The only thing I really have, and also they deleted my Instagram as well, because those are linked. So, yeah. The only thing I have now is just X, still don't pay attention to the news. I just like keeping on touch with like gaming news and technology and stuff. But if you're more than welcome to reach out to me via the podcast, the emails, the website, anything like that if you want to get in touch with me. But I figured I would explain that. And again, I haven't really cared enough to go back and open another one, so I'm just kind of not worried about it. To wrap things up, the weight loss journey is still going pretty well. Still just trying to eat healthy and do smart things, and that's going well. So I don't regularly weigh myself or anything. I just make sure and do my exercises on a regular basis. And I know it's going to be a long process, but I wanted to give an update on that. I'm going to do my best to make sure this is still moving forward. And we're not going anywhere. I just paid for another year to host this, so not going to be leaving anytime soon. But I want to thank everybody for listening. I'm going to try to do this much more often and then see if even the other guys want to get back on here. But thanks so much for listening. It's much appreciated. I hope everybody has a great day and holiday season if I don't see you before then.